In the market for a great deal? Shop careers at Fareway. From the meat department to the bakery to the store floor, we're hiring full-time, part-time careers for a lifetime. Apply now. There's more in store for you at Fareway.
Spring is here. It's time to start thinking about family fun in the outdoors. This is Chris Williams promoting my good friends at Plaza RV in Bondurant. I've now bought 2 travel trailers from this locally owned company in the past 5 years. It's completely changed my family's life. We love spending time in the outdoors, tailgating, and most of all, being together. Camping has been an awesome escape for us, and I would encourage you to think about it as well. Head over to their lot in Bondurant. They have motorhomes, travel trailers, truck trailers, fifth wheels, and more. Check them out today at PlazaRV.com. They're 100% locally owned. Tell them that Chris Williams sent you.
Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go to business and they can't.
All new material.
They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out.
Nate Bargatze. Saturday, May 18th, Wells Fargo Arena. Tickets available at HighVTix.com or the box office. Don't miss Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour. Produced by Outback Presents.
2 guys, 2 Chris's, 1 network. Iowa everywhere. It's time for 2 Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
Welcome to 2 Guys here on Thursday, the 2nd of May.
Well, it feels like Monday because it's the same damn Open where the guy mispronounces Iowa.
That's why I was laughing. Welcome to the program. We are presented as always by Fareway Meat and Grocery. I'm telling you that Fairway's best thing, it is the chicken grillers. Unbelievable.
My dad doesn't buy that.
Ooh.
My dad.
they're so
I get
good.
the chicken skewers. They got the summer stuff out now.
William said that about the chicken grillers.
The chicken
last
grillers
year,
are
and my
so
dad
good.
Just shit all over that. I'm sorry. I can't get past this. Are we not going to have this thing fixed? Am I going to have to record
Well rested and bottled in Erling, Iowa.
So here's what I wanted to.
This is out of my hands. This is a production issue. Talk to Van Winkle. They're on it.
It's getting worse. Van Winks, I sent you the Open from 6 months ago where he said it pretty much correctly. Take a listen.
Channel Seed Studios, this is Iowa Everywhere.
So now that we hear the wah a lot more, I think we can sense a little wah in that. But at the time, not too bad. But now, I mean, the guy's like leaning into it with this Steeple Ridge. Play the Steeple Ridge one again.
Well rested and bottled in Erling, Iowa.
I mean,
see, that has been the intro to that podcast for well over a year. Nobody's ever made it. No, I'm serious.
You're telling me that you're on that podcast every time and you hear that and you don't go, you know what, we need to fix this.
I've never heard it.
I've
never even thought about it. No.
Isn't the technical pronunciation of Iowa?
Well, I don't know. They probably said it that way back in the day. The Steeple Ridge one really grinds my gears, though, because he's getting all sexy. He's like, bottled and aged in beautiful wood casks in Erling, Iowa. Let's play that again. Play the Steeple Ridge one.
Well rested and bottled in Erling, Iowa.
rested and aged in Erling, Iowa.
Distilled, well rested, and bottled in Erling, Iowa.
Oh. Hey, girl. You want to come over? I live in Iowa.
The best part is when he says, this Steeple Ridge bourbon. He says,
I'm going to keep it this way just to get you, just to piss you off.
You would do that, too. You would.
I would do. That's exactly something that I would do.
You know, you own the majority of this company, okay? And you overlook something like this. It's starting to make me wonder what other things are falling through the cracks.
Oh, that's a fair question, my friend. Welcome to today's show. That's a very fair question. We got no food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling. It is a monsoon here in Iowa.
Is it really?
It has been. Oh yeah, it's been raining for 2 weeks. It feels like it's a disaster. It's a disaster.
How come you haven't asked me why I'm all dressed up?
You have a white collared shirt on. I didn't know that that's considered to be. Are you going to the Formula One race? Gonna go walk around the paddock a little bit down there?
I have to. So they moved one of our show times to noon Eastern. So I have a show at 11 your time today. So I'm going to have to just hightail it. I already showered. Usually I don't shower before the program. Before this program. Usually I do it after. I've got to hightail it in. And it's 30 miles from here to work. So I'm going to get there. I'm going to get into work about 11:10 Eastern time. I go on the air at noon.
Well, it's because you're a professional, Chris. You can handle it. You're a professional broadcaster.
Thank you. I'm glad you have that kind of faith in me.
Yeah. Hey, real quick before we get into the Iowa Collective leader just shitting all over the fan base. I just a poll here. Bloom and I got into this yesterday on our Cyclone Fanatic show. When you were a kid on Mayday, if somebody dropped off a basket, were you supposed to chase after them and try and kiss them? Did you do that? Was that a thing in Muscatoon?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, no, it was a thing. I had a lot of people tweeting at me about it that they did that too. But we thought now it would be like assault. Like you would go to jail for that now.
So you're saying on May 1st?
Yes.
Like I do remember one time in school they had us make a May basket, and I don't even know what it entailed.
It's like candy and stuff.
Is it? Okay. I think I made it for my grandma or something. But
oh, that's interesting.
So what are you supposed to do on Mayday? You're supposed to make a basket of things, leave it at someone's door, and then run away?
Yeah. But if they catch you, they're supposed to kiss you.
Shut up.
See, your grandma would have to shove her tongue down your throat.
Like a grandma is going to be able to catch a little kid?
Well, usually you would leave it at friends' house. I'm serious. This was like an absolute.
What do you
thing.
mean? Like a girlfriend's house?
Yeah.
You'd put it at the house of your crush?
Anybody, really. I mean, it could be the girl across the street. It could be. That was the thing. I had all sorts of people tweeting at me yesterday that they did this as kids too. So I know it's not just me.
I've never heard of something.
This might be like a chili cinnamon roll situation that we're running into here.
Yeah.
We all know Williams was dropping the Mayday baskets off to the Clarinda Academy and just waiting for somebody to come out.
Come and get me.
Make sure and wave.
Were they all boys at the Clarinda Academy? No, there were girls.
For a while, and then they created the girls' academy.
That's right, because you were talking about Bloom was calling the girls Clarinda basketball games, and the girl just sat down on the court.
The girl sat down, crisscross applesauce, and refused to play. I have the CD of that call, and it's the funniest freaking thing. And I've got to.
You've got to find it. You've got to find it.
I have it somewhere.
Yeah, we've got to play that.
Here, Van Winkle, I'm sending you a picture of my girls delivering May baskets last night.
At least gave my daughter one. They didn't kiss or anything, but it was cute.
Well, that's not a thing anymore. But back in the day,
didn't chase him down. Did you chase her down and kiss her?
So I want to talk about this Iowa collective situation first. I just think it's really funny. So we've declared over the years that the Iowa players hate their fan base, right? Zach McCabe told you all to suck his D. The McCaffreys have repeatedly told you guys how much you suck, how you're awful fans. Now the leader of the collective is basically saying, man, you guys are really disappointing Iowa's fan base. This is an article. I'm obviously playing that up here. There's nuance to this conversation, and we will have it here today on Two Guys in the Channel Seed Studios. But Pat Hardy from Hawk Fanatic, no relation to Cyclone Fanatic, has an article with Brad Heinrichs from the Swarm Collective and Hassel. It's it's really to the point. I admire Mr. Heinrichs for not holding anything back, I guess. What did you think of this article?
Yeah, I was surprised. I saw it late last night, and a bunch of things were eye-opening. One of them being the way he kind of spoke to and about the Iowa fan base, he being Brad Heinrichs. And two, how far behind the Swarm is compared to where he thought they would be. He said, and this thing started 2 years ago now. It's been 2 years. He said by this point, he didn't say he wanted 10,000 members. He said to even compete, they need 10,000 members, and they thought that they would have at least 10,000 members by now. Right now, he says they have 2,900 members, and only 400 of those members are season ticket holders in football. And that kind of goes
wild
against what we have been thinking, I think, about the Swarm these last several months, because it's mostly like, okay, football's getting the money, but what about men's basketball? Nobody's giving for men's basketball. They've got no money over there. But only 400 season ticket holders are members. And I'm assuming by member he means like somebody who gives on a monthly basis. It's not just a one-time thing.
I would agree with that, yeah.
But to be that far behind, and one of the things he said multiple times in this article was a lot of people, fans, are complaining about results on the field, results in the transfer portal, but they're not doing anything about it financially. He says that's really, for the lack of a better word, I think he said peeved, but pissing him off. He wants every season ticket holder in football to also give $100 yearly to the Swarm. He said if every season ticket holder for football did that, they would be in great shape. But they're not doing that. And there's a lot of reasons why. One, look, you're already spending thousands of dollars just to be able to attend a game. Seat licenses, you might have to be a donor, then there's parking. Now you're going to add something else on top of that where you're going to have to pay the players. And I've heard from a lot of people that do spend a lot of money on tickets, that are huge Iowa fans. They are hesitant about giving to this because, one, it's still very new. Two, some are still hesitant about like why are we the ones paying the players? And three, they're not really sure where the money is going, exactly who it's going to, what they're getting for their return. So there's a lot of reasons not to give and not many reasons to give.
Yeah, there's so many layers to this. The points he is making, for one, are correct. Like the point that he made that I agree with the most in here, and it's time for, it'll be time for Beth Getz to step up to the plate here next. I feel like this was a shot from, like a warning shot from Heinrichs when he talked about in this article how the days of, we have to have great facilities and that used to be how you were good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just gone now.
Well, yeah, that used to be how you recruited.
Correct.
You brought them in, you showed them what they would have. Now it's
Clemson had they were the first one. They had a freaking roller coaster in their football facility or whatever it was. I remember, they were the one who kind of started doing that, and it's why these college practice facilities were always considerably better than the NFL's. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they don't pay the workers. That's why. Well, so what we've got here, and this is not new, but you've still got these arm wrestling contests between these collectives and the athletic departments, because Beth Getz and Jamie Pollard, they still have to meet payroll. They still have to fund the volleyball and rowing teams. They still have to pay for the scholarships. There's all this money. Where I have a problem with it, Chris, is at the end of the day, you can't belittle the fans. You can't talk down. Not even going to games. Watching the games on television is financially supporting these things with the television contracts. If you lose that, if all of a sudden the fans are like, F this, I'm out, I'm not even going to watch the games, and instead of pulling 3 million people on average, 1 million people are watching, then your Big Ten check's going to get smaller. And this goes for Iowa State too. This is a general conversation. But the fans are the only reason that this entire system works. That's it. And they've been pulled in so many directions for a long time now. It's tough, man. People with kids out there going to the grocery store right now, it's brutal.
And he acknowledged some of that in his quotes to Pat Hardy in this article. He did say, look, I get it. Some people can't do it.
Yeah.
I think he was more talking to the people who are spending a lot of money on other things at the university, football mostly, and not giving to the collective. But one of the other things we need to talk about as a major reason why Iowa fans aren't donating is because they have stagnated on these coaches. Kirk Ferentz has been there. Yes.
Well, I know that's
has been there
McCaffrey.
25 years, and even though he's been a really, really great coach over the span of time, do you really trust Kirk Ferentz with your money, so to speak? Trust that he is going to go out and get the best quarterback, the right quarterback. What has he shown? What has he proven? Nothing yet in the portal. He's proven that he'll use it, but what have they gotten out of it? What's Cade McNamara shown? All the money they threw his way. Nothing. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. He hasn't been healthy at all since he's been to Iowa. And maybe that'll change this year. Maybe he'll surprise us all. And then there's Fran McCaffrey, who people just don't believe in, that he's been there 15 years. And you talk about, disparaging the fan base. Fran McCaffrey isn't making any friends. He's just not. Kirk Ferentz is at least a little bit, he's beloved. You could see a statue for him someday. I think there should be. Fran McCaffrey is not beloved. He's not even loved. He's not even well liked by Iowa fans. He's tolerated. So I think you've got those things working as well, where you just have these coaches that have been there forever that, look, they can release these statements all they want about how important it is to donate to NIL. But
are they taking pay cuts?
No. That's and that's the biggest thing is a lot of these people
is the university
can't wrap their minds around having to pay these players themselves.
Yeah, are the athletic departments giving fans a break on parking? Are your tickets getting cheaper? No, everything's wants
getting more expensive.
Yeah.
And you can say, and Brad mentioned it in the article about Ohio State, and that they spend more on their quarterback room than Iowa does as a whole. But it's different. I mean, that's apples and oranges. Not even oranges. It's apples and grapes That's Ohio State. A lot of these schools, it's just different, especially when you're talking these football powers. You've got to get people excited. Why will people donate if they're excited? If they believe?
What would
in the
Iowa's
program?
situation be like had Fran McCaffrey gotten another job and Darren DeVries is the basketball coach?
They would have a lot more money in Swarm for the basketball program.
Yeah, there you go.
They
Your
would
point.
sell a lot more season tickets. Don't know if it would equate to better teams, more wins, a Sweet 16, but I can promise you, if they were to make a move and bring, let's just say Darren DeVries into Iowa City, they would instantly sell more tickets. The atmosphere would be better in Carver, and they would make more money. They would raise a lot more money for men's basketball, period.
Other point I would make, too, just two big picture points.
Bigger,
here.
better, bolder points?
Well, so one is I hate any sort of blame towards the fans because a bunch of administrators for 50 years have screwed this thing up. The fans aren't the problem here. I understand what Brad's trying to do. I don't think Brad's a bad guy. I
do too, because it's his job. He has to do it.
He's trying to help.
But at the same time, when you read those quotes, is that really going to motivate anyone to give more than it's going to turn people off?
I'm going to invite him to come on CW Pod to see if we can talk about that. God, I'd love to. I haven't.
Because what do you do if you're in his situation? What do you do? I think maybe you try to be a little bit more, but maybe he's probably tried that in the past. He probably went these last 2 years trying to be the nice guy, and now all of a sudden we're 2 years in, and he's not even 30% to where he thought they would be.
The other point I would make is watch out if you're an Iowa fan. This is why I had like a 180 on like the future of the Big 12 like 4 or 5 years ago. And this is why last year, Chris, I was so excited with Texas and Oklahoma leaving. And like the negative Nancy's out there would be like, oh, you're playing at a mid-major now. No. It was for the first time since I've been doing this 20 years, I feel like Iowa State's punching at its own weight class in this new Big 12. Mm-hmm. Like they have a real shot.
Kind of feels
here.
like everybody's punching at the same weight class in that conference.
Correct.
Now.
My point with Iowa would be if you're in this Super League or whatever, what Brad's saying about Ohio State, they ain't the only one. Like, this is a different world here. So, like, what he's looking at, and I get this, Brad's looking at this and being like, God damn, these are our peers. Look where we are. We got no shot at this. Like, we have no shot, and he's trying to, right? Like, and this is, Iowa's got a great historical football program. I am not taking that away from you folks. Kinnick Stadium's marvelous. I'm not shitting on you. This is not the Iowa State guy shitting on.
Times are different.
You're not Ohio State. You're not Michigan. You're not Alabama. Like, this is a totally different hemisphere that you're
not even Nebraska
into.
in this.
No.
I mean, you want to compare what Iowa brings in to what Nebraska brings in? It's not going to be pretty.
It's really, really tough stuff, and he's trying to keep you at that level. I've talked through this with Bloom on the Iowa State level a million times, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. And, man, that was a staggering deal. Like, that is Iowa going to – do you want to be on par with Ohio State? You'd love to. Is it realistic that you're going to be everywhere? No.
You just hope that every now and then when you
every
play,
10 years,
you can beat them.
Yeah. But in this new world, and this is where it's just so hard, and I have a very surface level of sympathy for the people involved because, like, this isn't Beth Getz and Jamie Pollard that made this system. This is going back to 1985 in the Supreme Court, like when the NCAA started screwing things up and not giving players anything, right? Like, this goes back decades and decades of bad decisions, and now it is all coming to a head. And still, the fans are the ones that get hammered each and every, and the fans, because of that television deal in 1985, the Supreme Court, go look it up. You know why all that happened? You know why all this money came to the table? Because fans watch the games. And if fans aren't watching the games, if fans aren't going, none of this works. Everybody's out of a job. All those players are out of scholarships. None of this happens. You got to figure it out, guys. You got to figure it out.
I also think that there are some people not giving because they're just waiting for that big shoe to drop, which this might happen in a year. It might take 10 years. But when that shoe drops and either the players become employees, the university has to start paying them, and it then comes off of the fan. I think there's people that are just kind of buying their time for that. Because I think that's okay. Like if it's only going to be another year or two where this is a thing, where the fans have to foot this huge bill for the players, I could sit that out. Your program's not going to totally collapse.
Yeah, I don't think that we're going to be here for very much longer. And Brad acknowledged that in this article with Pat Hardy as well. But it's kind of one of those deals you don't want to crater in the meantime. And they haven't. Like, Iowa's been good, right? Like, this isn't some deal where they've completely flatlined as a program. Like, that's not the case, but I think what he's saying is he's trying to keep that from happening. Real quick on this topic, I thought this was really interesting yesterday. There's been a bunch of suits down in Phoenix having meetings. That's what these college athletic directors and president, they go to these fancy hotels and they meet. They just hang out in like these 5-star hotels. So the bowl guy, what is his name? Nick Carparelli. He's the executive director of bowl season. I didn't even know that was a thing. So they are pitching. I'm going to read a quote from him. They're pitching to have these players under contracts to play for all 12 regular season games and a playoff game in the playoff. So basically they're trying to save bowl season now. They're saying when these NIL deals go in-house, eventually whenever that happens, you will be required to sign a contract that you will play in all of the team's games, and they're trying to prevent opt-outs. And then, like I've been saying for years, it looks like the Bulls are going to have to pay the players. The players are going to get a cut, as opposed to, oh, here's a grab bag from Bass Pro Shop. They'll get actual money, is what it's looking like. So we'll see. I mean, that's not a done deal. But I guess my point is, instead of it's not all doomsday. There are people working on these situations. It's just, again, Chris, you have decades upon decades of horrible decision making. You can't just clean it all up in 1 year. And this is a messy time right now.
Boy, I don't know how you're going to be able to tie that to the bowl season. That's going to be tough. Then you're going to have guys faking injuries, and I don't know about that. And as a fan, I would love for the Bulls to just kind of go away. I think they've lost so much luster. I just don't give a shit anymore. Like, yeah, it gives us something to watch over Christmas, whatever. But come on.
What are you, anti-American? I've been watching this Cold War documentary. Are you a communist? That kind of talk?
Definitely not a communist. In fact, I think it's more commie to celebrate all these bowls. Oh yeah, everybody gets in. Everybody gets an extra game. You can go out on a win for your season. Oh, it's a bowl champ. We can all win championships. That's a communist point of view. Did you see what Brad said about the Swarm beer sales?
No, I didn't see that part. What did he say?
He said, now this wasn't in that article. This was, just take a guess what the monthly check that they just were written for. I don't know if it was March or April. I'm guessing it was March. The March check. What do you think they got?
Well, I'm guessing it's pretty low.
Guess.
$1,000.
He said they got a check for $207 for the month in Swarm beer sales.
Well,
contrast that to Iowa State,
because
I've got an Iowa State number. Do you?
No, I don't.
Well, I did some digging.
Investigative journalist Chris Hassel.
Iowa State bringing in $15,000 this month on Ames Lager.
Yeah.
Now, in the grand scheme of things, that is a drop in the bucket.
It is.
Even $15,000. Like, what is that really going to do?
I do think that what Bloom has done there is really smart, though, in the sense that, hey, if you don't want to give us a check, go and buy a 6-pack of this every time you go to the grocery store. Or, there are ways that Iowa State, I'm going to this NASCAR race. I'm going to buy a couple of those We Will frozen pizzas to have in my camper. And normally I would buy Red Baron. That's a good, decent model for the fans.
Is Bloom outmaneuvering the Iowa Hawkeyes?
Oh.
I was the widow engine that could. You all made fun of me. Can I have some money to pay? And now look at me. Suck these nuts. Suck these red-haired nuts. Because We Will is going to shit all over you.
Suck. That sounds like something Zach McCabe would say.
Hey, kudos to Bloom, though, because, I make fun of him.
Dude, I know that those pizzas that they're doing make them money, too.
I make fun of the pizza. I sent them
make fun of it all the time. All you want,
but a picture of one of those pizzas to my dad. I said, how much would you need to eat this piece of shit? And he said, there ain't enough money in the world for me to bite into that piece of garbage.
Ooh, it's good. It's all that beer they drink in Omaha. It's all that beer that those pallets of beer they shipped to Omaha probably for the NCAA tournament.
But think of who's Iowa State? Is Iowa State losing anybody in football?
No, well, so I was going to make that point too, and it's just these programs all have different. So Iowa State doesn't have the luxury to be like, oh man, we're going to go get nasty in the portal and pick up 15 guys. Their portal is fighting to keep their own guys.
And Rocco Becht was one of them. Rocco Becht was offered massive deals by major programs. Iowa State couldn't offer that, but was able to offer enough.
Correct. That's what they're
to keep him.
So that's why it's confusing too for fans. Because they're like, well, why aren't we in the portal getting all these guys? Well, because you're trying to keep your 20 starters that are coming back from last year's team. That's the goal for Iowa State. And
they did, right?
They did. They had a really good offseason. It was very encouraging for them. They didn't lose a single starter.
I'm thinking that the amount of money, again, I don't know this for a fact, like I know the beer sales. But I'm thinking the amount of money that these schools are dealing with right now, when you originally went into this thinking Iowa has a huge leg up here and they're going to raise way more money and have way more at their disposal than Iowa State. I think it's a lot closer than we would have thought 2 years ago right now. And at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about the amount of money you have. It's how you use it. It's how you use it and how you retain your best players. Because if your players if you can convince them to take a little bit less than where you could get elsewhere, you save some of that money, then you don't necessarily need to have more money than the other guy.
This Jacob Bostic, he was the guy talking about how great Iowa's offense looked, and then he transferred.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that everybody was see, the offense is changing. You see what Jacob Bostic said? Oh, my God.
He goes, all I'm doing is I'm in motion all the time.
All the time, just running around. Teams are going to have no chance against us. And then 4 days later, he's in the portal. And now, what's the latest with that? I saw yesterday he got an offer from Mississippi.
I heard it'll be down to Iowa State and Ole Miss are the two.
God.
He's going to end up at one of those two spots.
Talk about elite uniform combos. A couple teams with elite uniforms.
Ole Miss has the best uniforms in college football.
They can, at times, yes.
Them and Tulane.
It's one of their alternates. Because they'll still wear that miserable navy blue thing.
Those baby blues with the red.
The baby blues.
Oh,
yeah, but the baby blue helmet. Red jersey. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I didn't think we'd be burying the Iowa State jerseys here.
Well, I mean,
it
is incredible to me. The players hate Iowa fans. The collective guy hates Iowa fans. We know McCaffrey hates all of you.
You know what? Then leave. Get out of here. Get out of here. Scram, see?
Real quick, I want to thank our friends at Iowa Event Center for this Nate Bargatze clip that we keep seeing before our show. Cracks me up every time. He is a funny dude.
I'm
he's
sorry, I
coming
can't
on the
pay
18th.
attention to it because I'm just waiting for the guy to mispronounce Iowa. So I don't even listen.
Iowa Event Center.
At the Iowa
This is a big
Event
deal.
Center.
And Maddie Van Wink's come in here. This is a huge deal. AEW, which is like this new like adult. It's so like
What is that?
WWE
Adult
is like
entertainment wrestling?
no.
Is that where they
So,
like?
I would
there's like
call
they're
it-
having sex in front of you in the ring.
The WWE is very like PG. This is more like PG-13 / rated R. They like cuss and promo.
WWE is PG.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking back to when I used to watch, and it was Val Venus coming
Oh,
out,
yeah.
rubbing his nipples.
Oh yeah. Hello, ladies.
It'd be the video on the big screen.
It's like
when
a
he came
screw
out.
going into a.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like a geyser, just shooting off, and that's PG to you.
Oh, well, the WWE is very different now. But no, this thing is like it's got like a cult like following. This is a big deal that this is coming to Wells Fargo Arena. AEW Dynamite. So the tickets go on sale
Today
today.
at 10 a.m.
Okay, so what makes it? God, Fails is going to hate this because he says every time you bring up wrestling, I need to change the subject. But I actually
We're
have
doing
a
this
question.
for our
like,
sponsor, and
I'm
there's
diving
a
in
lot of
more.
people who will go to this.
Oh yeah.
What makes it rated R? Like what happens?
They
is there
bleed.
nudity?
They swear a lot. I don't know. It's just like it's less of a kid version of pro wrestling is the way I
Okay.
would put it. I can't explain it much more than that. But this is coming to. They've been trying to get this. This is a big deal. So this will be Wednesday, June 12th. Tickets go on sale today.
HiVTix.com.
Fake Bob Vanderplatz is wondering if anybody's going to piss on someone else's V cut.
Man, that what was her name?
Dua Lipa? No.
Dojo Cat.
Dojo Cat. Yes, you're right. You got it.
Dojo Cat.
I didn't understand. I looked her up after the show that she sings the song about her milkshake on the
No, she
playground.
doesn't. That's
No,
Khalees.
Oh, I thought that was Dojo Cat.
My milkshake brings all the boys
That
to the
song is
yard and they're
20
like,
years
"It's
old,
better
Chris.
than you."
Doja Cat was like 5 when that song came out.
Yeah. She just got hot. Can we get back to the uniform talk, please?
Yes.
Iowa State has new uniforms. I think they're great. Hassel's all amped up.
There's a few things. Look. Can I? If you're going to start throwing me under the bus here,
Well, you're all. I said
what?
you're all amped up just because I have like 100 texts from you in all these different text chains.
I am a uniform snob.
How many different text groups are we in together? 6, 7?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't. I feel like I don't think I text anyone just by themselves anymore. It's just group texts.
Okay, so what do you think of the uniforms? I love the stripes, by the way. I think they're awesome.
All in all, I like them. I think it's an upgrade.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's an upgrade. But there's certain things I'm gonna nitpick. Van Wink is zooming in on the black and
Rocco's
gold
crotch.
cleats that Rocco Becht was wearing. Like, what is that? What? He's not gonna really wear black and gold cleats, is he?
I don't know.
That looks terrible. They're also this is a real pet peeve of mine, and I know Keith Murphy as well. Go back to the shot of Rocco there. Okay. The helmet color does not match the red jersey color.
I could see that. Yep.
The helmet color is cardinal. It matched the old jerseys. It does not match the new shade of red on the jerseys. That's going to really bother me. Big time.
They need to go with just the matte helmet completely, just in every.
I don't know about that. I like the stripes on the shoulder. I think that's the biggest. I really like those.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
I wish they wouldn't have the Iowa State above the number on every single jersey. That makes the front number smaller. I get rid of that because you didn't have that before.
It's all about the name on the front of the jersey, Chris.
But there's already an I State on the V cut that you can piss on. There's already an iState there. There's a Nike logo. There's a Big 12 logo. There's a Jack Trice logo. The top of the jersey is very busy. Does not need that Iowa State. Use it on one of the jerseys. Use it on the red jersey, not the white and the black. I don't like how all the jerseys are basically the exact same other than the color. I also do not like, and I will fight Van Winks to the death on this, I don't like how there aren't any stripes on the pants. There should be stripes. The pants are too plain. The pants have nothing on them. So you're going to have that if they wear those gold pants, it's going to be another one of those times where they go viral because it's going to look like a bunch of guys running around naked without pants on. You got to have stripes on the pants.
I think those are fair critiques. All in all, I think they're better uniforms.
I do too. I do. Yeah. I thought that Iowa State had a not great uniform before, but they have drastically improved their uniform look over the last, let's just say, 15 years. From the last uniform they wore with the Cynado, those were crap. Like the Todd Blythe uniforms, I did not like those.
Oh man, why you got to throw my guy Todd under the bus like that?
Then they went to that rebrand where they looked just like USC. That was the kind of uniform they wore when they wore the all golds that one night. That was
Rhodes' first year, I think they debuted those.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Austin Arnaud.
The worst years were the Chiswick years where they looked just like a really like practice jersey for the Kansas City Chiefs.
That was the old that was the last of the Cynado.
Those were like the intermediate years actually. Like they were doing a transition. I have learned about this that you can't just call Nike up and be like, "Hey, we're changing our uniforms next year." It takes like years sometimes to develop that. So I'm guessing this has been in the works for a while.
By the way, the helmet I think will match the jersey. I think it's just the lighting in that picture on Rocco that makes it look darker.
Bullshit.
What?
Hey, I don't know why do you have to be swearing at Van Winkle, Hassel?
You think it's the lighting in the picture?
Yeah, because look at like the helmet that Jalen Knowles holding in this other one. It looks a little.
Zoom in on it.
Hang on, give me a second.
It's cardinal. That's the same color. Now maybe you can convince me that they're going to get new helmets in with a different color before the season. But those are the same fucking helmets that they've been wearing. That's the same shade that Brock Purdy was wearing. And when you look at those uniforms, those jerseys are cardinal. These jerseys are red.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
That's going to drive me nuts.
Hey, shout out to our friend Randy Peterson.
Just
published his farewell column with the Register. Pete's watching.
Congrats, Randy. He's retired now. He can watch our show live.
All right. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, Randy says pants. Those are shorts, and he's right.
How
do we feel about that? How do we feel about the no knee pads anymore?
Well, yeah, like I was to follow up on that. I've wondered that. Like, do these guys just not protect their knees at all anymore?
No. Well,
it's crazy. Like, is there more injuries?
The skill position players, for the most part, do not have pants. They have shorts. Now, some of the other guys still do. But it allows you, obviously, more freedom to move around. That's a no-brainer. And, like, what are the injuries to your knee? A lot of them are non-contact.
Yeah, most of them.
It usually isn't, a guy just smashing into your knee. And let me tell you, even if you had a knee pad, it's probably not going to protect you from a broken leg if something like that, like a Willis McGahee type hit comes. Why'd you look at me like that?
I remember that injury. It was.
Oh, you winced.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody winced when we watched that. That was horrible.
I would give. So I think the Iowa State uniforms before were probably a B-. They weren't horrible, but I downgraded them on the ridiculous iState logo. I do like how the numbers on the red jerseys are white now instead of gold. They're easier to see.
Gold is the worst.
Hassel, do you remember, too, when you called the game, the Texas game, how hard it was to read the numbers on the back because it was that weird font? It looks like they simplified that font for the numbers a little bit, so that's good. That's a good change.
It's more block lettering instead of that weird...
swirly.
And I like that.
Yeah.
But I do think they missed an opportunity here. Like, you could have done some different things here. You could have, I think, incorporated some of that, just a little bit, not a lot, but incorporate some of the cardinal or gold into the black uniform in some way.
I agree. That's the one thing I've always thought too, was just, I always think wrestling does that. They've got a singlet that has the cardinal or red or whatever with the black. It looks really sharp.
But I also wonder what's still out there, because they made the original post April 1st.
I think I know.
With the 3 jerseys, and then there was that blank picture. That's something else that's still coming. What is it?
I think it's a white, something like this.
What?
But I don't know.
What the fuck are you talking about? That's the same goddamn thing they released yesterday.
This is a mock-up from Joe Summer.
Now, hang on a second.
They didn't release that yesterday.
No, this is a mock-up from somebody.
How is that piece of shit? I'm sorry. Uniforms fire me up. You look like a stormtrooper if you wear that. Go to the uniforms they released yesterday. So that's just a white helmet, white top, white pants. How is that any different than, so all you're doing is adding white top?
It's the white with the black.
Because it's the same uniform.
It's like a road version of the black uniform.
Jesus Christ. That's it. That's all it is.
The speculation is they're going to release
we don't know. We don't know. We're
on May 4th. On May the 4th.
Because it's a stormtrooper.
Yes.
Oh, God.
I'm really, really disappointed now, because I thought that this might be just some kind of a fun uniform, like a
we never
Seneca
bring up
Wallace
Star Wars
throwback.
on this show again.
Why?
I just hate it.
Hey, real quick, can we get a critique on this outfit that Hassel was wearing the other day? The jean jacket. What do you think of this, Williams?
Do you really think that was my jean jacket?
Was that Amanda's?
Let me tell you, I walked in for work one day, and they're like, "Oh, before you do your show, you got to do this for us for social media." I had to pretend like I was a draft pick that didn't get drafted at a draft party, and they're like, "Do you have any like regular clothes?" I said, "No, I've got what I'm gonna wear on the air. I've got a suit and tie." So these hip kids in their 20s,
hippity dippity,
they're wearing jean jackets. So they had me throw on a jean jacket, read the script just totally blind, basically. And what do you think I look good?
You could pull that look off.
I think
you think so?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I went through a jean jacket phase when I was in middle school.
So yeah, jean jackets, like, gosh, you'd wear like overalls as a kid. And then the jean jackets came back a little bit. God, I don't know if they ever came back for guys, though. The only people I remember wearing jean jackets were girls.
Can we talk about Deion Sanders and his kids?
What is going on?
Oh, my God.
This is bad. This is really bad. I think...
Are they the most unlikable program in college football right now?
There's no doubt. And I think it's an extremely unique... Well, I don't need to say extremely because
they're bullying people.
But here's the difference. What makes this so unique is that they are a bad team, a bad program. They're probably not even going to go to a bowl game this season. And they're still getting everyone to hate them. Usually the hated teams are the really good teams. Like you hated Urban Meyer's Florida Gators. You hated some of Nick Saban's Alabama teams. They're just too good. This is a bad team that now everyone hates. And I've seen some people make great points about this and about why this is such a bad situation. Because how does a team like that pull off some wins? You surprise some people. No, teams aren't up for you. All of a sudden, you're making every team go up to 1,000 when you come in because they just want to kick your ass and not let up. Remember what Oregon did to these bastards?
Dan Lanning just
Oh,
was
my
so
God. So not only are you hated, you don't have the talent to back it up.
Did you read the Athletic article about Prime's program?
I didn't go in depth on it, no.
Oh, my God.
What did you find out?
Well, I mean, so they went through and they interviewed, like, they tracked like 55 guys who had been run out of that program or left and all this stuff. And they got a good chunk of them on the record. It was really good reporting. And some of these guys are talking about how, they feel like it's like a military institution there. And then all of a sudden you got Deion's kids walking around with their fucking YouTube film crews following them everywhere that they could. And then the deal yesterday where Deion is like bad-mouthing like these players that have left his program on Twitter who are playing in like FCS about and Shadir Sanders is making fun of him. It's like bullying. It's really, really gross. It
is, and
I don't know,
and they suck. Like they're getting bullied on the football field. They're going to get their ass kicked by a lot of teams this year. And you think a defensive lineman's going to let up when he gets his hands on Shedeur? Like this is bad.
He's going to pile drive him into the ground is what he's going to do.
And this is a bad look for a guy that might be the number one quarterback prospect in next year's draft. Like these are the things they look at. These are the things they ding you for in the NFL. This guy is willingly hurting his draft stock. His dad is willingly hurting his son's draft stock.
God, it's such a bad, it just comes off to like the kid who's born on third and thinks he hit a triple. Right?
Well, he was bragging about not knowing who the hell his teammate was.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Reminds me of the Kevin Costner movie Draft Day where they didn't take the guy in the first round because you're the quarterback and nobody showed up to your birthday party. Why is that? Right? Right? Like that has to mean something. And this deal, I don't know how, so last year I think there were a lot of people, Deion's this cultural icon in America.
I thought it was great what they did to start the season. I was all on board. It was great for college football. The ratings were through the roof. But then we saw what they were. They weren't very good.
And I don't know how you could be in reading this stuff. So some of our audience is probably like, what are you guys talking about? Just go and do some, Google it right now and you guys will see a million stories pop up. I don't know how you could not be a Colorado, if you're not a Colorado fan and be like, oh man, I really want this team to do well.
Right.
It just is such a turnoff to anybody.
If you're going to act this way, you better be damn good.
Well, and it's
not just individually, but as a team. You better be like a national championship contender if you're going to act this way. You got to be able to back this shit up on the field. And they can't.
And it's just, I think, another point to what Deion's trying to do. You cannot, at a place like Colorado, completely try and professionalize this. It's not possible. It's just not.
No.
Maybe Brian Kelly could do that at LSU with the money machine behind him, but this is still Boulder, Colorado. And
you've seen, look, last year's spring game to this year's spring game. You had a sellout crowd in the snow last year. This year, the place was maybe a quarter full.
One last thing I wanted to get to. I'm having such a hard time with the NBA playoffs this year. I have two things. I think it finally hit me. So I'm a guy if I flip on an NBA playoff game, I will enjoy it. It's a good product watching the NBA playoffs. It's a good product, okay? I think I'm finally there, though. So, Chris, the only game I've really watched at all was the Bulls playing games because I'm a Bulls fan. I'm the last of a I'm old school.
I was a Bulls fan.
I will still root for a team. So now I'm more I was interested in that, but I'll Halliburton and Niang. Freaking Niang's my buddy, right? I've had such a hard time just flipping the switch this year, and for the first time in my life, maybe it's because my kids are older, maybe it's because I got dirt track racing I can watch anywhere I want, any night of the week. I cannot get into the NBA playoffs this year for really the first time in my life. I can't snap my finger, and I think it's finally gotten to me that these dudes do not care until why should I? And if you're not building up that that give a damn about something, man, I can't do it anymore. And like Halliburton is one of the best 5 players in the world right now, and it's hard for me to flip on his games. Like I don't know if I'm ever going back. It's really odd.
You watch the game and you don't think this is playoff basketball, man. Where they're supposed to be playing defense and.
Oh, I know they care now. My point,
You're saying they don't care during the season?
Yeah, and it's like the whole point of like if you don't care, why should the fans? What I'm saying is it's hard for like we care about Iowa and Iowa State football and men's basketball and women's basketball and wrestling and because we follow it year round.
Yeah.
It's like a soap opera to us where like every day there's a new element of the story.
Yeah, you're not just jumping in the postseason
right?
Like a lot of
so
people
now
do
it's
with
like,
the NBA.
If I'll flip on whatever, it's entertaining. It's good, but I don't have like a passion for it anymore because it's just like I'm just like a bandwagon guy where I don't care about the players. I don't care about these teams anymore. Maybe if the Bulls were better, I would care more. I don't know. I just can't do it now. It's weird. For the first time, which you'd think it's the opposite with Tyrese and what he's doing, and I love him and his family. I've been around him a lot, but I just can't. It's so bizarre for me.
Well, it's an interesting time in the NBA because it's kind of we're reaching the point of the changing of the guard. First time in, 20 years that LeBron, Steph, KD, none of them are in the second round. LeBron is almost 40. You've got new stars rising up like Anthony Edwards. Is he going to be able to carry the torch? He's really exciting. But I'm just, like, as a kid, I couldn't get enough of it.
Me too.
I was a Michael Jordan Bulls fan. It was incredible. I tried to stick after he left. The Bulls were so bad. It was tough to watch them. But I would always watch the playoffs. I'd watch, Kobe in the playoffs, Shaq. I tune in and out. Like if I've got nothing to do and my wife is in bed or gone, I'll throw on a game. I threw on the Pacers game last weekend and Halliburton did his thing at the end of the game. Caitlin Clark was watching on. That was cool.
Yeah.
But it's not for me.
It's like I appreciate the athleticism. I appreciate what they're. I'm just not connected to it now. And maybe it's because we're getting old.
It's connection. That's what it is.
But
I don't feel like I have a connection. Like when I was a kid, I thought I had a connection to Chicago. I was 3 hours away. My dad was a Bulls, Bears, Cubs fan. We would go to some of the games. We'd go to a Cubs game every year. We'd go to a Bears game. I went to a couple Bulls games with Michael Jordan playing. I felt a connection. I don't feel any connection to Chicago anymore. None. So even though I am a Bears fan, I'm not nearly as passionate. I don't follow it nearly as much as I do Iowa and Iowa State.
Good stuff. You got to get out of here. You got to go be on the air soon. Enjoy let's do cheers to the freaking weekend.
Oh, wait. Van Winks, get it up. This is Steeple Ridge, baby. Get it up. Let's get the Steeple Ridge promo in here. Let's hear it one more time.
I don't even think Van Winks is paying attention over there.
What the hell's he doing?
Well rested and bottled in Erling, Iowa.
Well rested. Oh, yes. Yes. Stick that bottle inside me. Right here in Iowa.
Distilled, well rested and bottled in Erling, Iowa.
How does he say Erling right? He can't say Iowa right. All right, cheers to the weekend. What are you cheersing?
Heading to Kansas City, man, for some racing. What time's your flight get in on Friday night? You coming still? Going racing.
You're going all by yourself, correct? Oh no,
Yes.
You said Miller's going to join
John
you.
Miller's gonna swing over. Sipker claims he's going to come down for a little bit on Saturday. We'll see.
No way.
We'll see. He heard me talking on the show the other night about how nobody wants to come and hang out with me. So
wait a second. He heard you talking on what show?
Well, our show last week. I think I told you.
Whose show? Our show?
Yeah. Didn't I tell you last week I was going by myself?
If Sipker listened last week, that's the first show of ours he's ever listened to. Because I know for a fact that son of a bitch does not listen to this program.
Well, we'll see. I doubt he comes. But no, I'm going tomorrow morning, and I think I'm gonna go to a sprint car race on Friday night, which is a few miles from the track. Then I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna wake up, and I'm gonna walk around the NASCAR garage all day on Saturday.
The garage?
I'm gonna watch watch qualifying from pit road. Always one of my favorite things to do.
You bring
watch
air protection?
the Kentucky Derby at my camp. No, I don't wear air protection. I'm not a communist. Why would you wear ear protection? Your ear, it's good for your ears.
It's not.
Work them out. It's like lifting weights for your ears. No, I'm really excited. I'm going to work on the book for a little bit. I got a lot of plans. I'm going to take my bottle of Steeple Ridge. And what are you doing this? You going to the Miami Grand Prix?
Distilled in Erling, Iowa. Give yourself a Steeple Ridge enema in Iowa. I'm just hanging out at home. Got no plans.
You're not going to the F1 race?
No, I'm not going to the F1 race.
Way to be a dick about it.
God, man, when you're talking about those Iowa State uniforms, it has me so pissed off.
Iowa State.
He says it so wrong, you can't even mimic what he's saying. Like, I think you have a handicap. Say it again. How does he say it?
Iowa.
No, he says Iowa. Iowa everywhere.
Love you guys.
Well rested and bottled in Erling, Iowa.
Now, get out of here. Have a good weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening on Iowa Everywhere.